Hello everyone, I am Mekalavashit Reddy, pursuing my BTech at Institute of Aeronautical Engineering. Today I am gonna discuss about floppy disk and data transfer techniques. So this is an interesting topic and this is the most important topic when it comes for physically transferring data or like virtually transferring data. So it is very important when you transfer a data. You have to know about floppy disks, right? See, there are many ways of data can be transferred by floppy disk. That I'm going to discuss it. So first, what are we? I'm gonna give you a quick recap on what I'm going to do or what I'm going to be discussing today. See, today we are gonna discuss introduction to floppy disks, how floppy disks are used, and some of the floppy disk components. How does floppy disk encode data? Data transfer modes of floppy disk, uh, floppy disk file systems, floppy disk transfer techniques, speed of floppy disk transfer techniques, data transfer techniques, and floppy disk data recovery, and etc. So, without further ado, let us dive deep into this topic. So basically, floppy disks are a storage device. Mainly, it is a secondary storage device. Basically, floppy disk was invented in 1969, 67 by IBM. This is the first storage component which offers the user to both read and write a file into the floppy disk. See, a floppy disk is a type of storage media that reads the data, storage information, as I told. Also, no, okay. Now, but a main problem is at earlier times, it is very expensive at that time, where um you know floppy disks were very expensive. Because in the modern times we can basically read and write, and we can basically mail the contents, but no, floppy disks are very, floppy disks are relatively very expensive at that time. Uh, floppy disk transfer methods are methods used to transfer data from one end to other end, um and to floppy disks to from one floppy disk to other floppy disk. These techniques were commonly used during late 20th century for data storage and transfer. Understanding these techniques is important for historical research and data recovery purpose. How are floppy disks used? See, in early times of computer, floppy disks were only the option to back up your information and install new program onto a computer, because there were no CD-ROM drives, USB, and floppy disks including on the computer. The program could be able to install from one floppy disk if the program size was less than 1.44 MB. Similarly, most programs needed multiple floppy disk if they have a larger size than 1.44 MB. Okay, round piece of flexibility miler, a plastic covered with a thin layer, magnetic oxide, and sealed inside a protective cover. These are how floppy disks are made. May be referred to as floppy. 3 by 2 okay, 3 by 2 disk capacity is 1.44 or 40 or it's 1 billion 44, I mean 1.4 billion around. See, it might it might be seem a smaller figures in modern times, but at that time transferring 1.44 MB was, you know, it was to a greater kind of thing. Okay, floppy disk consists of a disk controller, read or write head, and a motor. The disk controller communicates with the computer, controlling the to data transfer to the floppy disk. The reader write head is responsible for reading and writing on the magnetic surfaces. See, basically, what happens is, these floppy disk, you can refer it as like a series, right? See, on a CD, magnetic surface is taken place. See, by as the magnetic currents get exchanged by within a computer, the data gets transferred. See, this is more like zeros and ones kind of stuff. See, let us say I have a HTML program in my floppy disk, and the information is gonna be exchanged within the computer and the CD. Now this exchange gives us, the required file, and I can manipulate this data using any read or write mode. Okay. Okay, how does floppy disk encode data? See, the information retrieved and written onto a floppy disk is controlled by a process of magnetic encoding. As the uh, reader write head passes over designated uh, tracks of floppy disk, it uses magnetic polarization to write information onto a disk and to retrieve this information. In this reading and storing of data, the head uses the binary numbers zeros and ones, and which corresponds to north and south poles of magnet. As I said earlier, these magnetic coils, basically, when they rotate according to Faraday's law, current generates, right? See, whenever I insert a file in that, it creates a certain zeros and ones language, which is basically on and off, right? At one point, the current will be increased, and other point the current will be decreased, and that's how zeros and ones are formed, right? See, if when I keep the floppy disk inside a computer, the exchange of information takes place as the rotor of the floppy disks rotate. The electrical currents hit the magnetic field. The information gets rotated as the information get exchanged as the as there as there exist currents between them. Okay. See, this is the slight diagrammatical representation. Here you have a suspension arm. So you can imagine this as, yeah. In earlier times, you might have heard about a gramophone. When we keep a CD on a gramophone and play those and and play our and play the music of our choice. See, the CD gets rotated, and the pointer and the slider keeps on and the CD keeps on rotating, pointed at the CD. So this is how floppy disk also works in a same manner, as you can see here. Being that these two components are both magnetized, the computer sends either a positive or negative voltage to head, which codes this into a series of zeros and ones corresponding to north and south. The opposite process is done when head is reading information. The head picks up a signal from magnetized part of disk and read or write head and sends the information to the computer, converting the charges into binaries. See, uh, data transfer modes. See, a floppy disk drives support various data transfer modes, and two common modes are single density and double density. These modes define how much data can be stored and retrieved from floppy disk during each revolution. In single density mode, fewer data bits are stored per track on floppy disk compared to double density mode. Single density typically stores 8 sectors per track, whereas double density can store twice as many, provides a higher data density. The data transfer mode also affects the transfer speed of the floppy disk. Double density mode generally results in a faster data transfer rate, since more data can be read or written in a single revolution compared to single density. The choice of data transfer mode impacts the storage capacity and transfer speed of floppy disk. Floppy disk formatting. Before data can be stored on a floppy disk, it needs to be formatted. Formatting involves the dividing the disk into two tracks, into tracks and sectors for efficient data storage. Formatting also includes writing structures such as the file allocating table to track data organization. Floppy disk file systems. Floppy disk use the different file systems for organizing and accessing data. Common files include FAT12, FAT16, and FAT32. So these are bits which come to 12-bit, 16-bit, and 32-bit. Okay. Each file system has its own limitations and benefits in terms of storage capacity and file management. Floppy disk and transfer interfaces. Floppy disks can be connected to computer via different interfaces such as standard floppy disk drive interface. Other interfaces include USB floppy disk drives and external floppy disk adapters. Uh, the choice of interface depends on compatibility with the computer system. To transfer data from one floppy disk to other, various copying techniques were used. Disk duplication involves creating an exact replica of original disk imagining creates a digital copy of floppy disk which can be written into other disk. Okay, floppy disk data transfer speed. A floppy disk typically have low data transfer rates compared to modern storage media. Standard transfer rates of 3 to 5 inch floppy disk are around 125 kilobits per second for double density, and 250 kilobytes per second for high density HD disks. Um, Transfer speeds can vary on factors such as specific floppy disk, the type of floppy disk, and the condition on the of the disk. Okay, floppy disk data recovery. Data recovery from the floppy disk can be challenging due to their age and potential degradation. Specialized software and hardware tools are available for extraction data from damaged or corrupted floppy disks. Professional data recovery services may be required for complex data recovery cases. Floppy disk obsolescence, obsolescence, obsolescence. Yeah. Uh, Floppy disk obsolescence. The floppy disk have become highly obsolete in modern computing data to advancement in uh, storage technology. The lack of compatibility with modern computers and uh, limited storage capacity are major factors contributing to obsolescence. Floppy disk data transfer techniques are now mainly used for historical research and data recovery purposes. Alternate data transfer methods. As floppy disk became obsolete, many modern alternatives have taken their place. USB flash drives, often portable, high capacity storage, while CDs and DVDs provide uh, optical storage for large files. External hard drives and cloud storage services offer convenient and scalable solutions surpass the limitations of floppy disk. Additional solid state drives and network attached storage have become uh, standard choices for faster and more reliable data storage in both personal and professional settings. Conclusion. The evolution of storage technology has rendered floppy disk absolute with USB drives, optical media, external hard drives, and cloud storage emerging as superior alternates. The shift towards faster, more capacious solutions like SSDs and NAS reflects the modern demand for efficient and reliable data storage. As these alternatives continue to dominate the landscape, the era of floppy disk serves as a testament to rapid evolution and innovation in field of digital storage. Yeah, this is Vashit signing off. Thank you. Bye.